right, folks, buckle up, because today we're talking about the armored giants of the grasslands, rhinos. Yes, the ones that look like Mother Nature couldn't decide between prehistoric dinosaur and grumpy tank, and just went with both. And since World Rhino Day is around the corner on September 22nd, what better time to shine a big conservation spotlight on these amazing, misunderstood creatures? First off, let's talk size. Rhinos are huge. Depending on the species, they can weigh anywhere from 1,800 to over 5,000 pounds. That's like parking a small SUV on the grass. Except the SUV suddenly snorts, charges, and has a horn attached. Despite that weight, rhinos can actually run about 30 to 35 miles per hour. Imagine a refrigerator on rocket boosters barreling toward you, and suddenly you'd realize why lions don't mess with rhinos. There are 5 species of rhino still hanging on today. The white rhino, the biggest of the bunch, and despite the name, they're not actually white. White is thought to come from a mistranslation of the Afrikaans word weit, meaning wide, referring to their wide mouths. So basically, a language mix-up that stuck forever. The black rhino, smaller, pointier lips, and way more attitude. Black rhinos are famous for being feisty, which is conservation speak, for has no patience for your nonsense. The greater one-horned rhino, found in India and Nepal, rocking a single horn and armor-plated folds of skin that make them look like medieval knights. If a Game of Thrones dragon had a land-based cousin, this would be it. The Javan rhino. Extremely rare, with fewer than 80 left, all living in one national park in Indonesia. Talk about putting all your eggs in one basket. And the Sumatran rhino, the smallest and the hairiest. Imagine if a rhino and a woolly mammoth had a baby. That's your Sumatran. So, why do we need a whole day for rhinos? Because sadly, all 5 species are under threat. The biggest culprit? Poaching for their horns. Now, here's the kicker. Rhino horn is made of keratin, same stuff as your hair and fingernails. So, the next time someone says rhino horn is magical medicine, you can remind them they'd get the same effect by chewing their own toenails. Not that I recommend it. Yuck. Habitat loss also plays a role. When humans take over land for farming, cities, or palm oil plantations, rhinos get squeezed into smaller and smaller spaces. And they don't exactly fit into tiny apartments to begin with. Rhinos have been around for about 50 million years. That means they've outlived saber-toothed cats, giant ground sloths, and whatever that haircut was you had in middle school. Once, there were dozens of rhino species roaming the planet, including the woolly rhino, which was basically a cold weather edition that looked ready to headline a Viking metal band. Today, we're down to 5 species, and the future of some is hanging by a thread. But here's the hopeful part. People are fighting back. Rangers risk their lives protecting rhinos from poachers. Scientists are getting creative, trying things like dehorning rhinos to make them less of a target, or even high-tech reproductive science for species like the northern white rhino. It's not easy, but success stories exist. The southern white rhino was once down to fewer than 100 individuals. Thanks to conservation, there are now over 15,000. Proof that with enough teamwork, even extinct in progress can be turned around. Let's lighten the mood with some quick rhino facts you probably didn't know. Rhinos have terrible eyesight. Seriously, they might charge at a rock thinking it's a threat. Basically, they need glasses, but can't find an optometrist brave enough. To make up for the bad vision, they have an excellent sense of smell and hearing. A rhino's nose is like nature's GPS. It can find water, food, or even other rhinos from far away. Baby rhinos, called calves, are some of the most playful creatures you'll ever see. Picture a tank with the zoomies, and you've got the idea. Rhinos communicate with honks, squeaks, and snorts. Somewhere out there is a rhino doing the perfect impression of an old car trying to start. At the end of the day, rhinos aren't just cool to look at. They're ecosystem engineers. By grazing and stomping around, they help shape the landscape, create habitats for other species, and even spread seeds through their dung. Without rhinos, entire ecosystems would shift. And not in a good way. So, this World Rhino Day. Take a moment to think about these incredible creatures. Share their story, support a conservation group, or just spread the word that rhino horn is not medicine. Unless your idea of medicine is biting your fingernails. Rhinos may look tough, but their future's fragile. And whether you're in Africa, Asia, or watching this from your couch, you're part of their story. So, let's make sure that future generations don't just learn about rhinos from history books, but get to see them in the wild. Ears flicking, horns gleaming, and maybe eyeing a suspicious-looking rock. Thanks for watching. And remember, protect the wild, because the wild protects us. Happy World Rhino Day, everyone.